A mom asked her teenage son to do some yard work on a Saturday before going off to meet his friends. 3 or 4 times she asked for his help, and 3 or 4 times he promised to help her. But each time he failed to keep his word. As he was walking to his car to go meet his buddies, his dad stopped him and said, "Son, I'm disappointed in you. Your mom needed your help. She asked you to pitch in, to do your part. You promised you would, but you let her down. Well, I just hope she told you what you needed to hear. I hope she told you that you failed her. I hope she told you that you're lazy and cannot be depended on. I hope she told you that she deserves better." The son answered, "Yeah, Dad, that's pretty much what she told me. Only she said it more concisely than that." The father continued, "So, tell me exactly how she put it." And the teenager answered, "She just said, like father, like son." Our kids do learn from us, for better or worse. And most of the lessons they learn are not by listening, but by observing. The old adage really is true. What you're doing speaks so loudly, I can't hear a single word you say. But just as our kids learn from us, so do we also learn from them. We learn by observing the ages and stages they go through and the inherent philosophies of life associated with each age and each stage. When you're the parent of a youth, a teenager, there are 2 philosophies that are almost always present in them. Each has a similar root source, but can produce remarkably different results. In the teen years, a sense of immortality can sometimes make them do foolish things. But a sense of invincibility can sometimes make them do bold things. At any age, most of us can still learn from those lessons. For starters, the longer we live, the more we should value life. And since it rushes by so quickly, I can never figure out why anyone would risk it, why they would intentionally do dangerous or foolish things. I mean, you won't catch me tempting fate because I realize I'm mortal. So, you won't catch me bungee jumping or skydiving or handling snakes. I value my life and understand that I can make decisions that would injure or diminish it. In that sense, when I observe some youth who tend to be a bit reckless, I am reminded of what not to do. On the other hand, I like the boldness I see in most young people. They're not afraid to try new things. They're not afraid to meet new people. They're not afraid to stand up and speak out for new causes. I recently labored with what to say about a pertinent and controversial social issue, or if perhaps not to say anything at all. While I was weighing the pros and cons and worried about who might get offended and what price I might have to pay if I said anything, the local evening news carried a segment from a high school here in our city. Several teenagers addressed the topic forthrightly, apparently not bound by my fears. The reporter asked one of the students, a 16-year-old young lady, "Why did you decide to speak out about this?" And the student answered, "Because it's the right thing to do. And if I don't stand up for my friends who are being mistreated, how do I know anyone else will?" She reminded me that sometimes we need to be brave and bold and take some risk. When my neighbors in the world are being victimized or persecuted, I am called to step forward and speak out without counting the cost, simply because it's the right thing to do. Psalm 103 talks about how people of faith will have their youth renewed like the eagle. In other words, we will learn the right lessons from the young. And having learned those lessons, our spirits will soar again. Perhaps 2 of those lessons are to value my own life enough not to unnecessarily risk it, and to value my neighbor's life enough to run the risk of standing up for it. Think about these 2 questions. First, What values should young people be able to see in us? How can we best teach those moral lessons? 2, name 3 virtues you possessed in your youth that we would all do well to rediscover. I'll see you next week when we think about young adulthood.